There can be no divided loyalties when it comes to God. As a rival god, Mammon, Jesus personifies wealth or possessions of all kinds. This is the Greek word mammona, which derives from the Hebrew Aramaic word mammon, which means wealth, riches, property. The temptation to worship the god of materialism was well known in Judaism. Greed and covetousness are the favorite traps of the evil one, so commands and warnings against greed and covetousness are common in the Old Testament. Finally, there is only one option: service, love, and devotion to God or Satan. Loving God entails serving and giving oneself entirely to Him. Heart, soul, mind, and strength. Matthew chapter 19, verse 16 through 22, Amplified Bible. And someone came to him and said, "Teacher, what essentially good thing shall I do to obtain eternal life? That is, eternal salvation in the Messiah's kingdom?" Jesus answered, "Why are you asking me about what is essentially good? There is only one who is essentially good. But if you wish to enter into eternal life, keep the commandments." He said to Jesus, "Which commandments?" And Jesus answered, "You shall not commit murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not give false testimony. Honor your father and mother, and love your neighbor as yourself. That is, unselfishly seek the best or higher good for others." The young man said to him, "I have kept all these things from my youth. What do I still lack?" Jesus answered him, "If you wish to be perfect, that is, have the spiritual maturity that accompanies godly character with no moral or ethical deficiencies, go and sell what you have and give the money to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. And come, follow me, becoming my disciple, believing and trusting in me, and walking the same path of life that I walk." But when the young man heard this, he left grieving and distressed, for he owned much property and had many possessions which he treasured more than his relationship with God. Matthew chapter 22, verse 37, Amplified Bible. And Jesus replied to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind." Treasure is defined as anything we value above all else, and that motivates us to act. It is money for some, others see it as a source of power, others strive for celebrity or attention. Many things in this world are vying for our heart's attention. Jesus says that determining where our treasure is also determined where our heart is. Many people claim to be looking forward to heaven, but their hearts are caught up in the cares of this world because that is where their treasure is. Jesus warned us that earthly money has a finite lifespan. While it may temporarily satisfy us, it is unstable and fleeting. This world, in its present form, is passing away. Earthly treasure will be meaningless the moment we breathe our last breath. Jesus urged us to look beyond our last breath and into eternity. Our lifestyles reflect our perspective when we are focused on eternity, when our treasure is stored in heaven. We will all give an account of ourselves before God for every action and every idle word. Romans chapter 14, verse 12. So then, each of us will give an account of himself to God. Matthew chapter 12, verse 36. But I tell you, on the day of judgment, people will have to give an accounting for every careless or useless word they speak. Nobody is immune. Excuses will not be tolerated. Every thought we have is seen and known by God, and we are held accountable for the truth we have been given. Romans chapter 1, verse 18 through 22. For God does not overlook sin, and the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who in their wickedness suppress and stifle the truth, because that which is known about God is evident within them in their inner consciousness, for God made it evident to them. For ever since the creation of the world, His invisible attributes, His eternal power, and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood through His workmanship, all His creation, the wonderful things that He has made, so that they who fail to believe and trust in Him are without excuse and without defense. For even though they knew God as the Creator, they did not honor Him as God or give thanks for His wondrous creation. On the contrary, they became worthless in their thinking, godless, with pointless reasonings and silly speculations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Claiming to be wise, they became fools. When we make decisions on earth that benefit God's kingdom, we accumulate treasure in heaven. Even offering a cup of cool water to a fellow believer, according to Jesus, is worthy of eternal reward. Matthew chapter 10, verse 42, Amplified Bible. And whoever gives to one of these little ones, these who are humble in rank or influence, even a cup of cold water to drink because he is my disciple, truly I say to you, he will not lose his reward. It is not a sin to be wealthy, but our priorities tend to align with where our money is invested. Those whose riches are stored in heaven can never be taken over by their material belongings. They are unconquerable because there is nothing on earth that can be exchanged for the price of their soul. They value the currency of heaven and use their earthly treasure to purchase heavenly gold, which will never lose its value. When we put our riches in material things, our hearts remain rooted in the values of this world. When, on the other hand, we invest in things that have worth eternally, our hearts remain faithful to the Lord, and we are not tempted to mistakenly try to serve both God and money at the same time.